Hey guys, this is another edition of the Retro Review, the only video series here on YouTube where I'm going to review all the Coliseum home videos. Of course, as you can probably tell, the picture is a lot better on here, or on this video, than it has been in the past because, well, I have a new computer. So because of this new computer, the video should be much better, and hopefully you guys will be able to hear me a little bit more clearly. Of course, all these Coliseum videos, they're no longer available at stores. The best way you could really get them is via Amazon or eBay. Today's review is easily one of the most popular wrestlers in the history of wrestling. Hands down. I can't think of a guy who is so beloved for his ring psyche in and out of the ring. So today the video that I'm going to be reviewing is Jake the Snake Roberts. And this is a video that is hosted by Craig DeGeorge and Luscious Johnny Valiant. Excuse me. So the opening match on this videotape is Jake the Snake Roberts against Scott McGhee. And it's an okay match. McGhee does get some offense in this match. But Jake Roberts, he outsmarts him at the end. He hits him with the DDT, gets the 3 count of the victory. After the match, he pulls the snake out of the bag and he just drapes it over poor Scott McGhee. And it's like Gorilla Monsoon is so offended by the snake being on him. Then we go to really what I would think would be considered Jake's first rivalry, true rivalry in the WWF, and that is with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So we go to the footage from Saturday night's main event where Jake the Snake Roberts is already in the ring. Ricky Steamboat's coming out. Steamboat's saying hi to all the people. And then Jake the Snake, all of a sudden, he comes in with a short clothesline that you could really hear the effect. And then he gives him another short clothesline, and that sends Steamboat to the floor. Then Roberts goes to the floor, follows him, and hits him with the DDT on the concrete floor. It's one of the most well-known spots in the history of Saturday night's main event. Steamboat is completely knocked out cold, and if you get a chance to watch, maybe not in this video, but maybe it's up on the WWE Network or up on YouTube, listen very carefully for when Steamboat's head hits the concrete floor. It is a sickening sound. I mean, you have to have good hearing to catch the smack of the head onto the concrete floor. So then we go to some highlights from the TNT show where Jake the Snake has, snakes with him. Some of the snakes he has with him includes a diamondback rattlesnake, a Mexican rattlesnake. He has a couple of cobras with him, along with a 3-step mamba. Why is it called a 3-step mamba? Because if you get bit, you only go 3 steps. And there's even one cool but weird thing where he has this viper, and he gets Gene to take the microphone over, put it over, and you could hear the snake breathe. It's going it's just this weird sound, and then he shows us a couple of boa constrictors, and then he pulls out another snake out of the bag, but it's not Damien, it's not even Lucifer, it's Son of Sam, and it's a cool segment from the TNT show. So then we go to a match between Jake Roberts and Ricky Steamboat. This time it takes place in the Boston Garden. And it's a very interesting start to the match because Roberts is blocking all the chops that Steamboat is attempting. I mean, it's good psychology when you watch this match. The way that Roberts is, he's outsmarting Steamboat, because Steamboat is trying everything and Roberts is blocking him, with all the different, arm blocks, hand blocks, shoulder blocks, whatever you could think of. So then, after a couple of minutes, Steamboat, he just catches Roberts, and he is on fire, and it sends Roberts to the floor. So Jake is over on the outside, he's recuperating, and then you could hear this clear as day. He's like this, and he yells at Steamboat, "Why, that son of a bitch!" It's so clear as day, and they, the commentators don't do anything about it, but that's what makes, this great, is you get to hear, this cursing that goes underneath that you really wouldn't be able to hear on most occasions. So Roberts does eventually get control of the match after Steamboat tries a knife edge chop to Roberts, but he ends up hitting his hand on the post, and Roberts takes complete control of the match for a good length of time. Then, as we get closer to the end of the match, Steamboat gets all the momentum back, and he goes to the top rope and he hits Roberts with a knife edge chop onto the head. Then Steamboat goes for another move, but Roberts pushes Steamboat into the referee, and the referee goes down, so everybody is down. Then Roberts, he gets up, he hits a high knee on Ricky Steamboat, and he's got the cover. He's got him pinned, 1, 2, 3, but there's no referee. So then Roberts picks up Steamboat, and he gives him a stomach breaker, and he's got him pinned again. 1, 2, 3. He's got him pinned, but the referee doesn't get up. So Roberts walks over to the referee. He starts trying to wake him up. Meanwhile, as he's doing that, Steamboat comes up from behind. He gets him in the O'Connor roll. Referee sees this. 1, 2, 3, and Ricky Steamboat beats Jake the Snake Roberts. So after the match, Roberts is upset, and he goes after Steamboat, and he hits Steamboat with the DDT. And then after he hit him with the DDT, he went over to the corner, he went to grab Damien, and he does grab Damien. He pulls the bag open, Damien's out of the bag, and he's about to put Damien on Steamboat. But then running from the back, here comes Dick Slater and Ted Arcidi to prevent Jake Roberts from letting him put Damien on Ricky Steamboat. Then we go to this exclusive interview with Mean Gene Okerlund and Jake Roberts, talking about how Roberts has changed his ways a little bit. How at first he was a rule breaker, and then now he's a fan favorite. And I like this interview. It's a really good promo, good one that I would recommend younger fans to watch, because Robert talks about how he's gone down a different path. He's going down his own road, and he's not changing for anybody, and he'll face anybody. It doesn't matter if it's Steamboat, King Kong Bundy, Honky Tonk Man, Hulk Hogan. He just travels a different path, and it's a real good interview. One I definitely recommend you watch. Then we go to a dark match, a never-before-seen match, except if you were in the building that night. It is Jake the Snake Roberts against the Junkyard Dog. And it's an interesting match. I'll say that. It's an interesting match. Two completely different styles. And Roberts at first is trying to get advantage of the Junkyard Dog, but he just can't get it done. He tries shoulder blocks, but the dog is too strong. He tries picking him up, but the dog is too strong. And then at one point, the dog gets on his hands and knees. He's on all fours. And Roberts is contemplating possibly getting onto his hands and knees to catch the dog. Well, he wipes his hands on the ropes, and then he tries for a sneak elbow, and he misses. And the dog beats him up all the way outside. Then Roberts, he's upset, and then he does this, And Johnny Valiant is on commentary with Craig DeGeorge, and he's like, "Oh, he just gave it. He just gave him the Serpent Salute. That's what Gorilla Monsoon calls it, the Serpent Salute. He told him, snake you, or go snake yourself." Yep, that's what it means. Go snake yourself, or snake you, the Serpent Salute. So eventually, he gets the dog to chase him outside, and Jake Roberts gets advantage, and he wears down the dog for a little bit, and he gets a side headlock on the dog, and he's laying down, and, he's got his foot on the bottom rope, and the referee doesn't see it, and he's asking him, who's shaking the rope. He does it a second time, and the referee doesn't catch him, and Roberts tells him the cameraman is shaking it. So the referee's like... So then he catches Jake on the third time, and, he has to break the hold up. So here comes the end of the match. Both men are on the outside. They're fighting each other on the floor. So Jake has the advantage. So you'd think, okay, he's going to go back inside. No. He goes around the corner, he grabs the bag, and he starts to open the bag to get Damien out. Well, while this is going on, there's a 10 count on the outside. The dog gets back in the ring. Referee calls for the bell. Junkyard Dog got counted, or not Junkyard Dog, Jake Roberts got counted out of the ring because he was opening the damn bag, and the Junkyard Dog won the match as a result of a countout. So now we go into... It's very interesting because the first half of this tape is Jake as a heel. Now we go to the rest of the videotape where Jake is a face. And it starts off with 2 matches against King Kong Bundy. So the first match that takes place between the two is from Madison Square Garden. And it's interesting because you got Bobby Heenan, who I guess had been on commentary on this night with Gorilla Monsoon at Madison Square Garden. So then Jimmy Hart comes, and Jimmy Hart is doing commentary because he's scouting Jake Roberts. It's an interesting match. Roberts and Bundy, it's a very unique combination, to say the least. What's also interesting is how many times throughout the duration of the match they have this one cameraman focusing on Damien. He's just, like, every time Damien's head would pop out of the bag a little bit, the cameraman would come. And it's like, oh, he's trying to get out of the bag. And so they focus on the camera there a little bit. So here's how the end of the match goes. Jake Roberts goes for the DDT, and Bundy just gives him a back body drop. Then Bundy goes for an elbow, and Bundy misses. Roberts goes for the DDT again, and Bundy runs Roberts into the corner. That breaks up the hold. Roberts rolls out to the ring to catch his breath. Well, the referee's got this count going. Bundy then decides at about 6. The referee's up to 6 at this point. Bundy goes to the outside, and he starts fighting Roberts. Well, the referee, who I think might be 90, I'm not sure, he's continuing the original count on Jake Roberts. Roberts rolls back in the ring. Bundy is on the floor. When the referee gets to 10, referee calls for the bell. And it's like, okay, what happened here? Because obviously there's no disqualification in this. So either it's a double count out, or what I'm going to assume here is that Roberts got back in the ring, the referee counted Bundy out, even though if you're keeping track in your mind, Bundy's only outside till like 4, when Roberts is out at 6. It's very confusing. And then we get a little post-match activity. Roberts grabs the bag, gets Damien out. So now we go to Saturday night's main event, and we get Bundy and Roberts again. And this is a much better match, I thought, of Bundy and Roberts. This match compared to Madison Square Garden, because probably of the incompetent referee in the Madison Square Garden match. So it's a good match. Bundy and Roberts, they're finding each other. Roberts is in control, and it looks like he's about to put King Kong Bundy away. When all of a sudden, Bobby Heenan, who might have been the bravest person in the world in 1987, he grabs the bag. He grabs the bag with Damien in it, and he starts running away. And Jesse Ventura makes this great comment of, "Oh my, George Steele has more class than Bobby Heenan. He stole Elizabeth. Heenan has the bag." It's just real funny. So Roberts chases Heenan to get the bag back. So Roberts does get the bag back, and the match resumes. And something that Ventura points out in the match, and it's very interesting, but it's real true. Roberts is about the same height, or maybe an inch or two taller, than King Kong Bundy is in this match, which is very interesting. So Bundy gets control for a little while, and then, Roberts fights back, and, he's on a roll. So then, the end of the match, and this is such a weird ending to this match. Roberts goes for the bag. Roberts is going for Damien. Well, the referee he's getting into the corner. He's trying to break this up. He doesn't want Roberts to get the bag. Roberts knees the referee in the midsection for no reason whatsoever except basically preventing him from getting the bag. The referee calls for the bell. King Kong Bundy wins because Jake Roberts knees a referee in the midsection. So we get a post-fight. Bundy goes for the elbow, misses, and then Roberts hits the DDT on King Kong Bundy. He got him, but it's too little too late. So then Roberts goes for the bag. He gets Damien. Here comes Bobby Heenan. He's running back out from the locker room. He pulls Bundy out of there, and Jake Roberts tries to get the snake on the referee, and Vince McMahon's like, "Yeah, get him! Put Damien on the referee!" And Ventura's like, "I can't believe you'd say that, McMahon. Why would you want him to put a snake on a referee?" And McMahon goes, "Well, I don't care who he puts it on, just as long as he puts that snake on anybody. I enjoy that." Okay. So now we go into a small video package of what leads up to Jake the Snake Roberts against the Honky Tonk Man from WrestleMania 3. So Roberts is cutting a promo in the Snake Pit, and I'm going to take it this is the weekend of WrestleMania. I'm just taking it, this is from WrestleMania weekend. Roberts cuts a good promo saying how Honky Tonk Man felt humiliated in the Snake Pit, and what he did to Roberts was not necessary at all, and how this Sunday afternoon he's going to get his revenge. So now we go to Roberts and Honky Tonk Man. And I was thinking about this even before I started watching the tape, because I knew this match was on the tape. How do you think Jake Roberts and the Honky Tonk Man both felt knowing their match was going on after Savage and Steamboat? How do you think they felt? Well, anyway, they both acted professionals in this match. We got a good match out of this. Roberts attacks Honky Tonk Man before the bell even begins, and he's just destroying Honky Tonk Man. He's taking his white suit off of Honky Tonk Man, and he's got a good advantage on the match. And then Honky Tonk Man brings up his feet, and he starts taking advantage, and he throws Roberts a couple of times into the guardrail onto the floor, and then he gets him back in, and eventually Roberts does manage to get himself back together after Honky Tonk Man was attempting to go for the shake, rattle, and roll, but Roberts thwarted that plan. So the end of the match, Roberts is attempting to go for the DDT. He's got Honky set up, but he's over in the corner. Well, Jimmy Hart is pulling on Jake Roberts' leg to prevent Roberts from getting the DDT. Well, Roberts sees this. He lets go the Honky Tonk Man. He tries to get Jimmy Hart, but Alice Cooper, who was in Jake Roberts' corner, comes around and he chases Jimmy Hart. Meanwhile, Honky Tonk Man schoolboys Roberts. He grabs the ropes. 1, 2, 3. Honky Tonk Man wins. He steals a win from Jake Roberts. Then Roberts goes to the outside. He grabs Honky's guitar and he wails. He tries to knock Honky Tonk Man's head off, but he misses. He hit the post and the guitar just completely shattered into a million pieces. So now we go to the finale of this videotape, and once again we go back to Saturday night's main event. This time it is Jake the Snake Roberts against Kamala. Now Kamala at this point in time has a new manager in Mr. Fuji. So Fuji, he's now the manager of Kamala, but he doesn't play a big role as much as Kim Chi does, because Kim Chi is very, very vocal in this match. Roberts tries to do everything he can. Kamala takes advantage. He uses his power, he uses his height, uses his weight to his advantage. And at one point, Roberts does get it back. He steps on Kamala's feet, his bare feet, which really is an Achilles heel to Kamala. And Roberts attempts to go for the DDT. This is where Mr. Fuji gets up. He's distracting the referee. Here comes Kim Chi. Kim Chi knocks Jake Roberts out. And then Kamala hits the big splash on Roberts. 1, 2, 3. Kamala beats Jake the Snake Roberts. How interesting is that? So Kamala is celebrating with Fuji. And Kim Chi, well, he starts to, undress himself. He takes his coat off, and we see a black coat with blue satin diamonds on, and he takes the hat and the mask off, and it's the Honky Tonk Man. Kim Chi, or the Honky Tonk Man, was Kim Chi the whole time in the match, and that's how the videotape ends. So, what do I think about this particular videotape, Jake the Snake Roberts? I'm going to say this. If you are a fan of Jake the Snake Roberts, this is a definite must-have, because you get good psychology. If you watch it, you get good psychology from Jake the Snake Roberts in this match. It's very cool to see how he has the matches as a heel, especially with Steamboat and Junkyard Dog, and then when he becomes a face. So it does a very good job in splitting the tape into two parts, really. The first part is, here's Jake Roberts, about first year in WWF, he's a heel. Then you get the second half of the tape where he's a face now, and he's very, very popular. So I think they did a very good job ultimately in this videotape, telling the story of Jake Roberts, even though we didn't need a story arc of, oh, well, Roberts started out as a heel, now he's a face, and here's what happened. They didn't really need to do that. But in this situation, in this case, they sort of did, and it comes off really good. So this is a videotape I definitely recommend. Now, usually at the end of this, I would, start playing some music, and that'd be the end of the tape. However, because I finished this, it is the last video of the 12th series that WWF released, the Coliseum videos. So now I am going to rank the 3 videos that came out in that series: gold, silver, bronze, like the Olympics. Gold medal for this one, I gotta give it to Jake the Snake Roberts. This was a fun video to watch. It was a good tape. And like I said, if you're a Jake the Snake fan, or if you're someone that's trying to get into the wrestling, or if you're a younger fan and you want to understand what the mystique is of Jake the Snake Roberts, this is a tape that I would recommend. The silver medal, I give it to the best of the WWF Volume 12. It's a very interesting tape because we get a lot of Kamala in there, plus that weird women's title match with the referee that just completely screws everything up. And there are also a couple of other hidden gems in there. And then the bronze medal goes to even more unusual matches, which, to be honest, I was a little bit let down. I was a bit disappointed. I thought it would be as good or better than the first Unusual Matches tape that came out 2 years before, but unfortunately it did not succeed in that. So the order goes: Jake the Snake Roberts gets the gold, Best of the WWF Volume 12 gets the silver, and Even More Unusual Matches gets the bronze. Well, on that note, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Retro Review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I know I say this a lot, but I really will try to get more of these video, reviews of Coliseum videos in the very near future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I am Bill, and you guys have enjoyed, hopefully you've enjoyed this edition of the Retro Review.